Hey girls, guess who's back? It's Chriselle. And today we wanted to talk about a topic that you have been writing into us about and to Kat about, and overall just mental health and in particular postpartum depression. So I know you just went back to work and you're talking a lot about having your second child and how emotionally you were feeling different and had some, signs of postpartum depression, not necessarily severe. But I think there's a lot of women who have even messaged you and, written in asking how to deal with postpartum depression. So what's your experience with that?
I mean, this is my second time around having a child. So after I gave birth, I'm like, I got this. Like, I'm gonna come swinging out of the gates. Like, I know the drill. But it was even worse for me this time. It was so strange. And it's almost like, not worse in a sense where I was more depressed, but I think because I knew that I thought I knew how to control it, but I still couldn't control it, made me feel even worse about myself.
Like, what is it? Like, what are the emotions that you were feeling?
Coming out of the hospital, you're on a high because you're just like, wow, like I just gave birth.
The
and
adrenaline
the
is so
adrenaline is
crazy.
still there. And then I think it's about maybe 5 days in, you're like, okay, this is my new life now. I want to be up and doing things. And because you physically, like for me personally, physically, I couldn't do that. It was really wearing me down mentally. And I think it's just a lot of expectations of how fast you can recover and expecting, certain things about your body at a certain time that causes postpartum depression. And of course, there's many different levels. Like I was doing a little bit of research. I actually read this really great book. It's called Postnatal Depression, The Postnatal Cause. In America, especially in America, so many people expect, even from companies, for women to just kind of bounce back after like a few weeks to get back to work. And I think because of these high expectations, and your body is fighting that because it's not ready, and you're trying to force it to feel it a certain way. And I think that's when you're just mentally having this battle of why am I feeling like this? I should feel better about myself. And that's, for me, I had a really hard time with it, even more so this time because I thought I could control it, but I couldn't.
It's kind of like this loss of control, and you just kind of spiraled from there.
Totally spiraled.
So did you do anything to help? Like, what helped you?
I actually checked out of social media. I checked out for 2 weeks, and then I came back for about a week, and then I checked out again for another week, I think. And not saying that social media is bad by all means, but especially with the people and the type of content that you're consuming every single day, I found myself, especially because I was breastfeeding, I was just on Instagram the whole time. That's literally 15 hours a day, right? Of just on Instagram. Yeah. And so by the end of the week, I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
I am wasting all this time just scrolling through other people's lives, and it's not necessarily information that's helping me with my life, and it's actually making me feel even crappier about myself because everyone's looking fabulous and doing great things. So I just decided that I needed to check out, and that week, that was the best decision because instead of going through Instagram, I started watching shows, which made me laugh, which made me cry. I also started reading more books, and I started talking on the phone with my friends and my family. So I just realized that there was a lot of time wasted, and it wasn't helping my postpartum recovery. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of you have messaged me and said, I'm feeling certain things, or I'm feeling sad. And the best thing that you can do is reach out to family and friends and talk to them. And reading through a lot of that, I started researching a lot. And a lot of it, where you can't control it, is actually hormonal. When you give birth, your estrogen levels drop so much, and that will do something to you. And that will make you feel sad, confused. You can actually start having You can hallucinate, which if you lose sleep for 72 hours, apparently you can hallucinate.
I mean, I believe it.
Yeah. And a lot of the things that you're feeling, you absolutely cannot control. And so the best thing that you can do is express it to your partner, a nurse, or a professional, and see if you can walk through some of those feelings and navigate what you actually are feeling. If it's just sadness and you don't feel like you're connecting with your baby and you're connecting more on Instagram or something, take a step back, do what Chriselle did. But if it's beyond that, it's really important to talk to a professional and get someone in your family to talk with you. I usually just tell all of you that have reached out to me, listen, there's these two levels. That's postpartum depression, maybe sadness and confusion going into a new part of your life, which is, it flips upside down. And for you, a lot of the expectation that you had, I'm sure, is like, okay, I'm a mom already, I got this, but then it's like you're paying attention to a newborn, and then you also have Chloe, so it's like there's a lot of expectations that you set for yourself, and if you don't reach those, you're of course gonna be down on yourself. And then there's the next level where it's uncontrollable. You're crying, you don't know why, you don't actually wanna connect with your baby, and you're irritable, and so that's the next level. And then there's psychosis, where you're taking action on a lot of the sadness. So it's just really self-awareness. If you ever need anything, you of course just reach out to someone in your life that you trust and that you want to talk to, or there's so many professional people in your area that talk with women all the time, and it's not something that is, it's not your fault at all. And but yeah, it's one of those things where when it starts to happen, there's so many emotions that go into being a new mom, and I experienced so many things. I cried one time. I was just like, okay, am I okay? Because you kind of have to check yourself. The first day that I got out of the house by myself, I put her in the stroller. Like, getting out of the house is crazy, right? And I remember putting her in the stroller, and I'm like, okay, my phone, I have everything I need. And I stepped out, and I was by myself. And I was like, okay, I can do this by myself. Well, I'm with Bella. Okay. And then I'm talking to her, and then like a half hour passes, and I'm like, okay, I'm in this. And you feel very, very isolated and alone. It was really strange for me, because I usually go for a walk with Brian, or it's our time to bond, or go watch the sunset, or like go out with Karina or something. And then it was really the first time where I just went out, and I was like, wow. And even when people would walk past me, I felt like, are they looking at me weird? Do I look weird? I mean, I'm pushing the stroller, and that's very foreign too. If you've never pushed a stroller and then all of a sudden you're like, so that was, and then I cried when I got home, because it was just so overwhelming. There's so many thoughts and emotions, and I felt like, can I do this? Am I gonna be a good mom? And I could cry even thinking about it, because you wanna make sure that you're the best, so.
Did it surprise you of how like emotional, like were you ready for it? Were you expecting it?
Karina knows I'm a very emotional person.
Yes.
Oh no, it didn't surprise me if you were crying.
It's like any other day.
You're like, oh, big surprise, Kat's crying, she's alone.
But you're not alone, now you always have Bella.
No one loves me. But then you have this little baby that's looking at you like, what are we doing now? And you're like, hi. And then you're talking to this thing that doesn't even understand you. So I'm a very emotional person. And I know that I did not have the hormonal changes. I didn't have that next level of sadness, but I had this like immense, like overwhelming feeling. Am I going to be okay with all of these changes, and will I meet the expectations that she has of me as a mom, and Brian has of me as a wife and a mother to his baby, and to my work, and being able to come back here and to continue being who I am here, and then to the community. And I think, that expectation is very emotional.
What I was really, really just surprised and also proud that you did was, I think it was a few posts actually, where you were showing your real body and like the before and after, and how like you, even though you had like the six-pack before, and then you showed kind of like your mommy pouch after, you're like, I actually feel the best now that I've ever done. And I think that's such an important message, especially coming from the fitness world, because I think so many women, including myself, we have this expectation right after giving birth, not even right after, maybe even 3 months after, you're like, okay, I'm gonna give myself 3 months to get back into shape. And then you look at yourself and you're like, why do I look like this still? And so I was like so happy that you did that, because I haven't seen any fitness people actually be that honest.
Yeah, I felt like I have a responsibility to the community. Corinne and I are always saying, okay, this is exactly what we're going through at this moment. So our responsibility to our community is to show exactly where we are, and we always are very transparent. And I just want to change the narrative that we have with our bodies and ourselves and each other. And so I just felt it was really important for me to never hide behind an Instagram filter or an angle, and show this is exactly where I am, and it's okay, and I'm okay with myself. I get frustrated when something doesn't fit, of course. Like, everything that you always feel, of course, is 100% valid, and you are allowed to feel. You're allowed to cry at the floor of your closet too. I cried when I was 9 months pregnant because nothing fit. So all of those are valid, but then also, like, let's change the conversation that we're having with each other. Corinne has been so amazing, like every step of the way too, having a best girlfriend that's like, girl, you look awesome, or so supportive.
You look better than me right now.
No.
Like, you have more abs going on.
No, but she's been like that number one person too, that like, I'm like, is this okay? And she's like, girl, get out there. Like, so
Yeah.
thank you so much. And
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to what you were talking about with how you had those feelings of, am I going to be good enough?
yeah.
How did you overcome that? Or do you still have those feelings? Or was it there like self-talk, or was there something that you had to, because you have to walk yourself through that process.
Yes. I feel like I've learned a lot from you and Tone It Up and everything that we've gone through. At Tone It Up, it's so much more beyond fitness and crunches and everything like that. It's really how to empower yourself and step up to who you are. And throughout everything, Karina and I have always talked with each other, and she's coached me so much, like, we can do this. And she's gotten me to move past my fears and everything over the past 10 years. So I think just taking a step back and going, okay, I have this fear. No, I'm going to be an amazing mom. And it's very instinctual, and you will be an amazing mom. And if you are a mom, you are an amazing mom. Like, you are the best mom possible to your baby.
Yeah, and I think whether it's a mother or any major, your career, like you mentioned, or relationships, or even being, someone's a daughter, like, am I good enough? And I think all women have those feelings. And so it is a lot of, let's see, in my past, let's do therapy, self-talk, meditation really helps with a lot of those emotions.
Oh my God, you led me through a meditation yesterday, and I was in tears. And she said, your number one superpower is you, and no one else is you, and you are love, you're it.
Yeah, it was all about
whatever words you.
It was all about like loving your little girl inside. And that's one of the things too. Sometimes if you're like down on yourself, I always think back of treat yourself like you are that little girl who's innocent, and all you want to do is, if you look at you, little Katrina, like, how could you not love her and like treat her right?
Hello.
So there's always that little girl, and so as part of, because you texted me later, I was like, no, hug your little girl.
I
You're
know.
You're like, I was a little weird. She's like, I got to get used to hugging myself.
I had one uncomfortable moment during meditation when she was leading us through it. She was like, okay, now hug yourself. And I was like, this is okay. But you know what? Let's get comfortable with let's hug ourselves right now. You're comfortable.
Yeah, it does feel a little strange.
Yeah, it's actually, what is the workout during Love Your Body, where I was like, and if you don't feel like working out, just hug yourself.
Insert that shot right now, because she actually said that. And I was like, oh my God, we are hugging ourselves right now.
If you don't want to do anything, just stand there and hug yourself.
When you have any doubts about what you're doing, it's just really important to talk to the people around you. And
And if you actually know someone who might have the symptoms of postpartum or depression or any kind of, mental health, and you notice it and they're not telling you, approach them and ask or tell one of their loved ones too, because that's really important. So, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Love you.